Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Off the Record with
Judah
and Kirk.
And Gabe, he's in the background. Yeah. He might deliver some comments, but right now he's reading comics.
Yeah, we've done this once or twice in the past where he was sitting in the background.
Yeah.
So he's reading the red shirts that we just covered in
our
the
last
episode.
Video. Yeah.
So you should go and watch that, too. And we are definitely going to get caught up in this, talking about this. So I'm going to remind you right off the bat, even though it's literally been 30 seconds, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us Off the Record JK on Instagram. If you think that this video sucks, give it a dislike. That's okay. We won't do it again then. I mean, not that we're just going to cover Crisis again, because that's what we're covering today, but still.
But if you also like stories, I'm going to plug something for the very first time, which I'm going to keep plugging on these videos, is my Substack, because every week there's going to be a new short story in a different genre. Some are in my own universes, and some are in universes that you are well aware of. And those have long disclaimers at the top of them that tell you that this, in fact, is not a DC comic.
Sadly.
With that being said, go check out Sanctified Samurai on Substack. And we'll dive right into our big video. This is a big video.
I kind of hope we don't take an hour to record it, but also we probably
There's no way
will.
we don't.
I mean, I work 40 hours a week now, and editing 2 1-hour videos in a single week and having our TNG at the end of the week. Shout out to that. That's after.
Shout out TNG Season 3, 14 episodes in.
Yeah.
That's
over me.
I am.
Nice job, Judah. This is okay. Let's actually get into the topic. So we're gonna break this up by we're gonna talk about the actual
event of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, which was 12 issues. We'll talk about that first. Maybe a couple of things will come up that actually did directly tie in from some of the tie-ins, as they're supposed to, but as we know, often don't. So maybe if something was so important, then that'll happen. Otherwise, we will leave those towards after we talk about the main 12 issues of Crisis, and we'll go roughly series by series. So there'll be a Superman one, a Green Lantern talk, and All-Star talk. Maybe not all of them because there were a lot. This was in total 60. There were 62 issues listed in the DC app. There were 64 listed in League.
I think I read all of the League ones, so I might have read 64.
Yeah, I have read 62, the ones that were actually in the app list. If you wanted to follow along with this, by the way, I wanted to give a disclaimer. The app is actually wrong. The DC app is wrong. The New Teen Titans issue 13, I believe it was. There are 2 series that were concurrently titled The New Teen Titans. In the app, there is the New Teen Titans folder, essentially, and the issues in it are called the New Teen Titans. There is another folder that is the Teen Titans, where if you open it up, you see all the issues are also titled The New Teen Titans. The one that is not new in the title of the folder is actually the one that the number 13 is a tie-in.
The number 13 of Teen Titans.
Of the Teen Titans, even though the actual title of the comic itself is The New Teen Titans. It's really weird. Why were they having 2 series currently going on at the same time that were titled the exact same thing? I will never know. That's a stupid decision. But it's the one that is Teen Titans, where when you open it up, it's the New Teen Titans 13. In the Crisis kind of folder, it has the wrong one in there. So if you wanted to follow along, don't make the mistake I made, which was read it thinking, okay, maybe somehow it does tie in, and it doesn't.
Yeah, also, whoever's working it for DC on DC Infinite, could you please help us out with that?
Because there's no way to report an error.
Yeah, also, can you
add a way to report an error?
Add a way to report an error, and also, can you work on because I'm going to talk about this very briefly. Some of the crossover events are so excellently done in their little folders on DC Infinite. And some of them look like they were hodgepodged by a drunken 3-year-old. So could we, show some love to the smaller events like Worlds Collide or things like that? And
just get better at uploading things. Because you have the scans of them. If a piracy website has everything that has ever been published on it, you can find the scans. If you own the rights to it, go to the piracy website, copy everything from it, put it in your thing, in your app, and then report the website.
Yeah, I know.
Just take it.
I know
it's
the
yours.
Event Millennium is hot garbage, but the fact that I can literally read all of the Millennium tie-ins, but not the main event of Millennium on the DC app, is kind of
insulting.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what's going on in these issues because I can't read the main event issues. So
we're 5 minutes in. It's been one constant rant. We will get into it right now.
Yes,
and it will be less of a rant, but we will 1,000,000,000% be getting
ranting,
so much rant later on again.
There's gonna be so much
because.
So here's what's up. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths. This started in 1986. This ended in 1986. 12 issues in 12 months of a year. That's legendary.
That is crazy.
So this is from esteemed storyteller Marv Wolfman as the writer and the probably second most famous comic artist in comic history, George Perez, on art. Who, by the way, let's talk about the art. So first of all, I'm going to say this. This is a general statement. I believe this. I think Kirk's going to agree with me. There's 11 issues of Peak in here. There's 11 4.5 to 5-star issues of a 12-issue event, which is great. And George Perez's art in all 12 of the issues is worth 5 stars. He does a fantastic job. He has given so many characters. He's given so many worlds, and he represents them so well. And I don't think there's enough, I hope Kirk takes some time editing to throw some just splash pages of George Perez's work in this event on screen, because there's no way to talk about it and really capture or convey not just the beauty but the detail and the just love that is put into the art by Perez in this book. So that's the first thing I want to highlight, because I think we together might talk about this book more negatively than most do.
We will.
Yeah, we will, because Kirk is here. So I want to clear off the bat. Hopefully, there's images of George Perez's beautiful, immaculate artwork on here. Look at those. Those are peak. If you don't read any of the words and you read all of the images, this is a 10 out of 10 event. Because Perez is fantastic.
At least artwork in core, I agree.
Yes,
the artwork in the core 12 is
fantastic,
outstanding. Genuinely, it's so good. Even we're not talking about the tie-ins right now, but I'll just give the disclaimer off the bat. For the most part, the art in all the tie-ins are also really good. So if you want to just kind of see the artwork, like a good series of artwork, then this would absolutely be for you.
Because
overall,
he's given so many great concepts to work with, and the way he renders them artistically is so well, and he gives us this kind of vision of the DC universe that I think we're still drawing from today, right? And you, like we talked about the Fury of Firestorm, how it looks exactly the same as he appears in only his own tie-ins, but how he appears in the main book. Yeah. And things like the iconography that he uses for Superman, which I know he draws from Neil Adams, and I know he draws from Jerry Siegel back in the day, but it's still like he molds those two things together and we get Superman. So George Perez, fantastic art throughout all 12 of these issues. Now, let's dig into our overall thoughts before picking at 3 or 4 of the plot details and how they lead forward in the DC universe. So, overall thoughts, Kirk.
Overall, the main 12, taken just completely independently of any other considerations, it's quite a good story. Yeah. I put number 7 as my favorite. I did not give a rating in League for any other part of this event except for number 7, because it was so astonishingly good that I just had to go in there and give it a 5-star.
Yes.
Like, I logged my reading for it and all of that stuff. Yeah. But I wasn't thinking very critically enough to give star ratings on individual issues throughout. But number 7, we'll get to it, was just so good.
It's phenomenal.
So good that I had to go give it a 5-star rating. So again, overall, good stuff. Something that we'll get into a little bit later that is such a hamper on this is that it doesn't actually reset the universe.
It doesn't.
We'll get into more details of that, and we'll talk about like how it maybe starts to make a little bit more sense going forward and all of that stuff. But that really does hurt this a lot, in my opinion, because that's why I'm reading this. Yeah. I was reading it so that I could know how the universe was reset, and then pick up any number 1 from after this and be like, this is fresh. I don't need to know a bunch of stuff. I know how it came to the reset, and it's reset, and that's all I need to know. But that's not the case.
And
so it means that I'm not as likely to go and start reading some number ones. Now, what your is about, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And again, some of it does sort of make a little bit more sense as time goes on. But it's disappointing.
It is.
It's really disappointing.
Yeah, it's fair.
So to give the main 12
overall thoughts
rating, I would say 4.5 when just taken as is.
Yes.
When bringing in those other considerations of what my hopes were for it and what the promises of it were, and how those weren't fulfilled until later down the line, not even fully, kind of brings it down to 3.5, 4.
Okay, interesting.
Something like that. It doesn't bring it down all the way.
Yeah.
But it is serious.
Okay,
how much it brings it down.
Interesting. I would say, outside of the exterior considerations, just looking at the book itself, if I just read this book cover to cover, I don't think about what it does in DC Universe. It's 5 stars. It's a beautiful book. It's a great self-contained story. When I think about it in context of everything now, it's 3.75 probably. And it's not detracting any points from the art. Honestly, there are bonus points in here for the art. It's really detracting everything from the writing and the fact that what Wolfman set up, he doesn't follow. We'll dig into that more when we talk later. But also that other people don't follow, except for my well exceptions. There are abundant amounts of my well exceptions, but there are some main players we'll get to later that it doesn't reboot. So I would say 5 stars if I just read Crisis by itself, and 3.75 if I read it in context of reading every DC event ever.
Yeah.
So
and trying to understand the history.
So now let's get to some talking points. First of all, what do you think of the 3 characters that are really essential to the story? I'm going to talk about Monitor and what's his name?
Pariah?
Pariah and Harbinger. So what do you think of those 3 characters?
Really interesting. One thing I want to note, I think in another video I made brief mention of it. But the Monitor is so iconic.
He is.
That in the CW shows when they redid this event, he looks the exact same. They somehow found a dude who looks exactly like him. That was made in 2016, and this was drawn in
1986.
So how that works is crazy, but it is iconic, and that is awesome. I love it. Character-wise, he's also great. I kind of wish there was. It's slight spoilers, but he doesn't.
We're digging into spoilers.
Yeah, he doesn't go
very far.
He's not around the whole.
He's
event.
around for about 4 issues.
Yeah,
and then he dies.
Yeah,
that's about a third of the event.
Which
makes sense.
Sad, but it does make sense. It's sad because he's a good character.
Don't worry, because his people will come back.
Good. But yeah, I mean, good character. I do like that character. Harbinger. Early on, I did not like her that much. I was like, and that was mostly not even because of the main 12 issues, but because of all the tie-ins where she is heavily featured. She's essentially the main character of the tie-ins as a whole, because she's the one going and getting everybody essentially and moving them all over these different places and all of that. And what I really didn't like is essentially she was plucking some rando, and it's not explained too much even in their own series why they're chosen over anyone else.
Yeah,
she's just going out there picking some random people because it's the Monitor's plan.
Yeah,
and pulling them to either this little main hub-based satellite thing that they have, or somewhere else on Earth, or a different Earth.
Yes.
And it's just kind of doing a bunch of that plucking action all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's too much. It's just too much to do. And to follow. And some of it is also just the tie-ins were not very good.
Yeah.
But, it's all over the place. Her character's scattered in so many different storylines because she's literally simultaneously scattered in a bunch of different storylines, because that's one of her powers, essentially, is multiple places at once. And it doesn't mean anything to the story. None of that really means anything to the story. It's okay, we're going to bring you here, and then you're going to see that there's a problem, but you already knew there was a problem. But I'm going to show you that there's a problem, and then I'm going to bring you here, and then we're all now on this satellite, and we're like, man, this is crazy. There's a massive problem. And then she's like, I'm going to send everybody back to Earth so that they can see that there's a problem. So, hey, lady, you just gathered literally everyone up here because literally everybody sees that there's a problem, and you've already shown us that there's a problem. Why are you sending us back down there to see that there's a problem? We know. Let's start doing something, please.
Yeah.
And, but then once that isn't happening anymore, she's a proper character, and even when she's just like regular human, but then towards the end when all of her powers become like actually her powers rather than the Monitor like giving her these abilities, that's cool. Yeah, well, that's great. After all of that, character is great. It's just that like what is happening? This makes no sense. Also, this is stupid. Early on, she's
the ending monologue. It's interesting because the Monitor is the opening monologue of the 12, and she's the ending monologue.
I did like that too. As well.
I love.
But by the end, and I would also say overall, she's a good character. Yeah. There's just that problem of this doesn't need to be happening. Yeah. And then for Luthor.
Or not Luthor. We're not gonna talk about him yet. I want Pariah.
Pariah. That's right. Yeah. Alexander Luthor. We'll come back to that. Sorry. Pariah, just a great character, all around.
I think he's great.
I think that he's.
I think I disagree with you.
Wow. Okay.
I don't like Pariah.
Okay. We'll start you off talking about Pariah then. Yeah. I did like Pariah.
I think he's a whiny little nothing character that supposedly did something but never did anything.
Yeah, that's weird. He says like, "Oh, I caused the start of this crisis." Essentially.
Where? When do we see that?
Nope, we don't. We don't. And then he claims it the whole time. Then we follow along with Green Lanterns. Yeah. And we see, nope, it was the Owens who started this crisis. Yeah. A billion years after the Big Bang, they started this crisis. Okay, so it wasn't Pariah. Okay, but he keeps saying that like he did it. Like he must think he actually did something bad. So what's the bad thing that he did?
Never see it.
Never see it. And then it just gets resolved when the Monitor's like, or the Anti-Monitor's like, nah, you didn't do it. Okay, then why is he cursed?
Yeah, and why does he not? Why does it not work on him? Like,
other than the background of that not making any sense, though, I thought he was a fine character.
Well, I don't understand why he's here if he's nothing burger. It's true. Like, is he a red herring or like what is his? I
think that's just bad writing.
Kind of a, it's probably.
But like other than bad writing and all that, it's like his ability to like sense danger is actually useful.
I think that's dumb. It's just spider sense, and like someone else could have had that. Yeah, he doesn't need to be included in the broader cast. Like we can
just like there's the guy that's like predicting the end times, except he's one of the heroes. It's like there's always the guy on a street corner predicting the end of the world, and there isn't this, by the way, which is kind of funny. And he's right, obviously, because it's the end of the world. But Pariah is like that guy, except he is right, and he has powers, and he can prove it. And
all I'm saying, Harbinger is rough to get through, especially with the tie-ins. But she has not only purpose in the plot, but she has powers that affect the story. Right. And he has powers, but someone else could have had Pariah's powers. Like, you know, like he's not essential.
I think it's important.
He's there.
That the main 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it, with Luthor. Yeah, we'll talk the main character, those main couple of characters have to be kind of removed from the universe. Yeah. So it makes sense that you wouldn't want to give like some random character either who's no name or some character that you do already know that's like can sense danger. You don't want to give them that job because they're already a character.
Yeah, and they want to see them in the new universe or something.
Yeah, like you give the main jobs, other than punching things, you give those main jobs to new characters, and that's why Harbinger, I think, is there. Yeah. And that's fine. Definitely those inconsistencies of why he's cursed and why did the Monitor curse him with this, because it said that the Monitor cursed him with this.
Not the Anti-Monitor. What did he do?
Okay. What? Yeah. So that stuff, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, Harbinger's functional for the story. She's a lot better in the 12 issues than she is in the tie-ins. I think I don't disagree there. Monitor's iconic. If we're talking about Monitor, we're talking about Anti-Monitor. Talk about peak villain. When Darkseid shows up in the Fourth World Saga in the 70s, that is the first, this is a DC villain kind of moment. And this is the second one of those, and this almost equals that.
And like I think he's aura forming all the time. The place.
You just see him in panels, and you're like, "Whoa!"
Either when it's just like him, in a more corporeal form, or when it's him like astral projecting his face in the sky of the entire Earth. Yeah, and like we see it like cut between a couple of different places, like in DCKO when we had the fight of
with Darkseid.
with Darkseid.
In all the different parts of the planet, and we saw that.
And universe.
Yeah.
And it's like the same two people fighting in the frame, but like they're cut across in the background. You're seeing different places as backgrounds. Basically the same thing happened here, which I guess is probably the first time it happened, or one of the earliest, and probably where that was kind of pulled from.
I think that's an homage, which is a good homage.
Which is good, and it was cool.
It boosts
absolutely
DCKO
aura farming from the Anti-Monitor.
So Anti-Monitor or farming villain, he's equally as iconic to the Monitor, in my opinion. I think if you're a DC fan at all, you're like, oh yeah, the big two villains. Darkseid, Anti-Monitor.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be. So he's peak. And now I want to dig into Alexander Luthor Jr. So first of all, I want to talk about his origin, because that's the very first issue. And I think it's such an excellent parallel that they recreate a lot of frames from Action Comics #1 and the origin of Superman, with the destruction of Krypton, but instead of Krypton, it's Earth 3. And I really love the fact that he is kind of... He's not... Okay, so you could argue Harbinger's the protagonist. You could say something about the Super dudes, because 3 of them are men and 1 of them's boy.
Yeah.
So, interesting distinctions.
The suits.
But you could also argue Alexander Luthor Jr. is a protagonist to this event. I think that's not an argument. He is. And I think his character's peak. I love the inversion of Lex Luthor. I love the fact that his origin parallels Superman's, and I love his little pocket universe that he so lovingly absorbs people into. So, no, he's a peak character. I really enjoy it.
That comment we're going to have to come back to with how many people remember everything.
Oh,
the number is in the hundreds.
Digging into the event itself. So, we collect all of our superheroes up. There's this plan. We're building these stations on these Earths to save them. The Monitor, this, that, the other. We save a planet, then the Monitor dies.
Yep, and then everything goes to hell.
And then that's exactly
almost literally.
Yeah, so we get a whole bunch of stuff happening. I'm going to talk about 2 of the highlights, which are in issues 7 and 8, back to back. First of all, when we go to confront the Monitor and Supergirl dies, first of all, it's iconic. Everybody's seen the cover.
Yeah.
But second of all, that's Kirk's favorite issue of this series. And it is an excellently
and
not
it's
just rendered. It's a double-length issue. It's an excellently not just rendered issue, but written issue, and is a fair send-off to Supergirl.
Oh yeah,
and is really, really excellently done. And I cannot stress that enough. So that's a highlight I want to showcase. Second one comes in issue 8. Flash has been tormented this entire book. Let's just say, and so he finally gets a chance to get free, and his confrontation with Psycho Pirate. Who, by the way, we got to talk about Psycho Pirate. Talk about aspects that we've neglected to mention. Psycho Pirate.
Psycho Pirate is crazy.
Literally.
Definitely by the end of it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like very much so.
But Psycho Pirate kind of gets his comeuppance, and Flash gets to do one last thing. And save the universe? Question mark?
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean...
But he nobly sacrifices himself.
Yeah. I think it probably precipitated... that they could win, though.
Yeah.
Because it essentially what he does is he destroys this plan that...
the canon?
Yeah, the canon.
Yeah, and he starts reverting
this is
backwards
like the main.
time.
This is the main plan of
the Anti-Monitor.
And so he is able to destroy that, and that's how in some of the tie-ins, and even potentially in some of the actual main issues of Crisis, we do see glimpses of the Flash just randomly popping out of nowhere, screaming about something, and then disappearing into nothingness. We see a number of times, and that's because of this.
Yeah.
He destroys the cannon, and he's like being sent through time
and space.
And just slowly dissolving into nothingness.
Well, slowly reverting backwards in time, also forwards in time.
Dying gruesomely.
Yes.
And that was the plan A of the Anti-Monitor.
And so he defeats that.
And so the plan B is essentially him doing it himself, him absorbing all the dark matter in the dark matter universe and just becoming super powerful, and he's just going to go and fine, I'll do it myself, Thanos style.
Yeah.
But that means that he's much more corporeal and
fallible and able to be defeated.
Some weaknesses that are eventually able to be capitalized upon by the protagonists, the very, very many hundreds of protagonists of this story.
Yes.
So, still he did save the day,
Yeah.
just a little bit more indirectly than he and everyone was hoping.
Yeah. Anyway, but all the Earths get destroyed, new planet, yada yada, yada, all that good stuff.
There was a thing about how 5 universes were saved by the Anti-Monitor as his last thing, and they're gonna merge, and that's why they went to the antimatter universe where Kara Supergirl dies.
Yes.
It is Kara, right? Sometimes it's different.
It's Kara. It's Kara in this iteration.
Okay.
It's Carol in the next iteration.
Okay, yeah, because sometimes it's different. Wanted to make sure, but Kara Supergirl does die there because that's what they're trying to stop, essentially.
Yeah.
But I think it is it's not by the end of 7, but by the end of 8, I believe, is when
the new universe happens. In 9, and you're like, whoa, new planet.
Yeah. So everything is wiped out, and a new shared history is created where...
Well, technically speaking, the planet's created. I don't think this is where I'm going to be picky about this and try to make this better.
Okay, so this is where we're going to get into the biggest problem with Crisis.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the biggest problem with Crisis, we got to talk about 2 things.
Okay.
Psycho Pirate and Superman/Pocket Universe.
Yes, because that happens before. So this is the first exception that I read. I read this and I was like, okay, so there are exceptions to who is able to comprehend that the universe has been reset.
Yes.
And that is Alexander Luthor
Jr.
is able to create a pocket universe where he, old man Superman, Kal-El, but without the E.
Just L.
Yeah, Kal, literally the letter L.
Technically the original Superman, but also technically the second version of Superman, if you do your math. It's confusing.
I'm going to have to trust you on that because I'm not going to read anything pre-Crisis consistently.
Yeah.
But, so those 2, we have Harbinger, right?
No, Lois Lane.
Lois Lane.
And Superboy Prime.
Oh, that's right. Lois Lane and Superboy Prime.
Yes.
So, as I was reading this, if you check back on our previous video, I was also... just after this, I read the...
Superboy Prime run in Superman current.
The current one, yeah. And it's pretty good. Go check our last video. Yeah. Literally the last video that we posted on this. And so I was like, okay, so that's how in this he remembers, is because he's in this universe, and so he remembers. So, he's outside of the effects of a universal reset. A multiversal reset, which... I haven't even talked to Judah to the side about how the multiverse is reset or not reset or anything therein. So we'll get into that here. But I was like, okay, so that makes sense. There's this old Superman, this old Lois Lane. It's kind of less of a problem now because, I guess Superman doesn't necessarily need to die. Lois will die.
Yeah.
Superman, I'll just assume that, okay, at some point he died, and so now he's not in a factor for people who are remembering.
Well,
then that just leaves Alexander Luthor, which I don't care about because I don't know him in anything else.
Prime.
And well, I just talked about Prime.
Yeah.
So those 2, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then that's when we get into...
Okay, well, first, Psycho Pirate.
I thought we already talked about
Psycho Pirate. We didn't really.
He's crazy.
He's crazy. He manipulates emotions. He makes everything screwed up. And he remembers.
Yes.
He remembers.
But I'm fine with that because it's torturous.
Yeah, and he's like, guys, I saw some crazy
and nobody
shit.
believes him, so it doesn't matter to
funny.
me that nobody believes him. My problem with the reset and people remembering is reconciling the differences in history and how this guy is technically not the guy your history says is your guy and all of those things. I don't care then that Prime remembers because 4th wall, and I don't care that Alexander Luthor remembers because he's not in anything else that I have read.
Well, he's going to be in some other things that you will read.
Okay, but right now I don't care.
He comes back.
And then Pirate, nobody believes him, so it doesn't matter. And also, he deserves the going insane aspect of it. So
after what he did.
But then, now can we?
Now we can talk about it. Give your thoughts, and then I'll give my $3, $4, $5, $10. It's not even 2 cents. It's $10. I'm giving you $10.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
The reset.
Let the public know how you feel, what you think, and articulate it well.
The reset is supposed to be, in fact, a reset. That's at least what was advertised, right? That's what I always expected when I was like, okay, we're going to do Crisis. I'm going to see all of this stuff. I'm going to be able to go from this point on and see some number 1s and maybe some origin stories thrown in there as side things or, as flashbacks during the ongoings and all these other things, but a fresh start so that I can get into DC from a more recent time than the 20s. Yeah. Which would, a little while ago. So
just 100 and some years.
Yeah. It makes it a little easier for me, So that was my big hope. And those dreams were absolutely dashed in this. So far, we have some caveats that Judah is going to so lovingly expound upon. But it's like, okay, these 4 people remember 5. We've talked about that. Who else remembers? Well, issue 8, a bunch of the heroes, like 300 of them, you see a massive crowd of unending superhero and villain faces in front of the Anti-Monitor. Mm-hmm. And all of them were there at the beginning of time when they were doing all that stuff, meaning when all of them go back to the present? Back to the present. One of the movies in that run was Back to the Present.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Back to the Future, Back to the Present, and Back to the Past. It's a trilogy. If you didn't know
when that. Is Back to the Present? Because I know Back to the Future 3 is Back to the Past.
No, I'm just messing.
I'm confused.
So, but they all go back to the present from the past, where they were only temporarily located, and they're immune to the effects of the change in the universe because these are the same people. Their timelines are personally consistent. They just did some time travel, so they remember. That's rule 101 of most sci-fi time travel. So okay, but there are hundreds of them. How are we reconciling that? These people are supposed to go forward in this new universe, and it's a new universe, and so are we just going to get all of the issues after this for 10 years? Are them being like, wait, but I thought it was this, and then somebody tells them, no, it's always been this way, and they're like, but I remember it this way. They're like, didn't you say something about the universe being reset that one time 20 years ago? And they're like, oh yeah, I did. Was that one of the things that got reset? It must have been. For like the most niche things, and that has to be a part of every issue for the next 10 years is these characters finding out these inconsistencies between what they remember and what the new history is. Mm-hmm. Speaking of new history of the DCU, that's basically what that is for us because it's still so convoluted.
Yeah.
And it is a good read too.
Fantastic read.
Absolutely. And I'm just like, okay, so I can't follow this up and be like, okay, I want to read, for example, just a random example, Green Lantern. I can't pull that up and just read the next Green Lantern after this and be like, oh, great. Now this is the only thing I need to know. But from here on out, these are the only things I need to know. Except no, because it's never, ever been reset.
But level with me here, Kirk. Would you want to read the next Green Lantern anyway?
Not particularly Green Lantern. But a lot of the other things.
What about Titans? Would you like to read Teen Titans? Ever?
Not really.
Okay, so here's
The Flash, though. Okay, but it kind of makes sense that Barry Allen remembers everything, and also he's the author of the new history and all those things. So.
Yeah, but he's dead at this point, and also Wally West is the Flash. Anyway, can I
a lot of people are dead at this point that won't be for long.
Can I actually you?
No.
Can I?
No.
I'm gonna actually you right now.
I don't consent.
Okay, so here's what's up. Kirk is talking about is a valid point that many people have pointed out. So the definitive answer that solves all but 3 of these issues is that the iterations that we pick up with post-crisis are that universe, they're amalgamed, and they lose their memory. They're amalgamed with that world's version. Amalgam meaning they're formed together.
Just pushed in.
They're just pushed in, and they're formed with that universe's version, and they have that universe's version's history, so post-crisis history. So they're just morphed, right?
If there was literally one speech bubble from a Harbinger at the end, with her massive speech at the end, if she had just said, and all the heroes are slowly going to lose their memories of this event.
Where this particularly comes from is when she says, and now there is one, like she's just like, there were many worlds, like her final exiting monologue. Yeah. She says there's one history, right?
Yeah. So that just because there is one history doesn't mean people don't remember a different one. I know,
but this is where this comes from. And it fits consistently, especially with characters like Blue Beetle who appear in this, but then is rebooted in his own miniseries from the late 80s, right? Mm-hmm. And it fits with a lot of characters. Now, our 3 lovely pain-in-the-ass exceptions, which we're going to talk about. So, first of all, Superman is rebooted. Batman's rebooted. Wonder Woman's rebooted. If you want to get into the main trinity of DC Comics, if you want to get into the Suicide Squad or the Justice League or an innumerable amount of DC characters, there is a very easy beginner, like bare bones origin getting on point for all of those characters. So in that way, it does in fact reset the universe. It resets Batman with year
it's just
one,
a couple of
Superman
years
with
down
Man
the
of
line.
Steels. Yeah, so
Like they continue the current, as if it were the previous universe.
Yeah.
You use that as an example. Like they're continuing like a what if this universe didn't actually end in Crisis.
Yeah.
And they continue on for a couple of years and then it ends.
Well, it continues on for a couple months.
Months? Okay. But then it ends eventually and you do start getting some new number ones. Slowly over time, they start to fill in.
Yeah, well, actually...
Now, it's not as cut and dry as I would like.
By the end of 1986, there is nothing except for our 3 caveats.
You're right.
That are being published that could point back to before Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
So by the end of 1986, Man of Steel starts releasing. You get the first issue of Batman Year One, and you get all of the above, right? So it is a reset. If you want to start reading Batman, start in 86 with Year One. If you want to start reading Superman, start with Man of Steel. If you want to start yada yada all the way through.
Thanks, Gabe.
So here are the 3 caveats. We've mentioned them. Teen Titans, which is written by Marv Wolfman, by the way.
Who wrote this?
Who wrote this event, so he didn't follow his own damn rules.
That should get you blacklisted.
It really should. Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps.
Which have never been
rebooted. So if you look at it, there is... Well...
is Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, and Jon Stewart... They're just like 100 years old.
So Jon Stewart's been retconned, and so has Guy Gardner. Hal Jordan has been... What's the right word? He's not been retconned because it's not a rewriting of his history. It's just a streamlining of the history that is there and Crisis.
So basically what you've talked about with some of the other things, like when we read through, what was it? Justice League?
International?
Yeah. Like the early one from the 80s or 90s or whatever.
So that Guy Gardner
It's essentially what you said back then was... Yes, all of the history is still there and maybe streamlined a little bit, but it's all still there. It just takes place over less time than it was originally stated, right? So the 20s through the 80s is 60 years of time.
And it's more like 6 years of time.
Yeah, it just gets...
Right. So it is kind of like that, but also there's a lot of twisting of it and new iteration of the story.
But if you're a new reader and you want to get in somewhere, you have to... You can start reading and like maybe start picking up on things, but then as you keep going, it just gets more and more confusing, and it has for me. It just gets more and more confusing, and then you have to have either a friend or the internet explain it to you. You should be able to just read something.
Yeah, well, that's just if you want to get into Green Lantern or Teen Titans or The Flash.
Yeah, The Flash
like the next 3 IP that come after Justice League, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Yeah, I'm aware. So those Flash has been rebooted. That's what Flashpoint is. Geoff Johns does wonders. So does Mark Waid in making it make sense. Flash is pretty great. The real reset for Green Lantern is the eradication of the Lantern Corps in '94, which is 8 years later.
Is that part of an event?
That's the part of the Return of Superman.
Which is an event?
It's an event. We will read it.
Good.
For this show. And also leads
that'll
to
be
what
coming
we
up
read
maybe a little bit more
with Emerald Twilight and Parallax and Kyle Rayner.
Okay.
That's the
good.
That is the
That'll come up sooner though, because we are going to be going through all of the like big main events as well
DC
as probably a lot of the like some of the good
We're
crossover
not doing
type
the
things.
Janus directive, if you're wondering, but we will do stuff. It has to be at least as big as Worlds Collide. It has to be at least 4 books from a major IP crossing over in it, and there has to be at least 1 issue of a main event series.
Yeah. And so if it's big like that, we'll be doing that. And then this will be part of that.
Yeah.
But because it's the 90s, you said?
Yes.
It's only 8 years later. It's not too far down the line. So we'll in the next 12 months, we'll probably get to it.
Yeah. In the next little while.
Yeah.
So
we can be slow sometimes, though. So
Flash... Okay, so Titans is where it's the worst. I'm going to be honest. Green Lantern is terrible. Titans is where it's the worst. Because Marv and George Perez's run on the Titans is acclaimed. If you ever want to get into the Teen Titans, I recommend reading New Teen Titans, even though it's called The Teen Titans in DC Infinite. Cringe, by the way.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to, probably for the first time ever, I'm going to cut Judah off and tell him that he can't talk about this anymore. Because we're at 40 minutes right now. We still have a couple of other things we want to talk about.
Bro.
They're important. But good news, everybody.
Bro.
We have a new show.
We do.
It's called Comic Talks. It's a kind of a spinoff from the comic stack that Gabe and Judah so lovingly created.
You're welcome, by the way. Gabe gets credit until the end of time on that, right,
Oh,
Gabe?
yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
You
He
don't want to
seconded
see
that.
what he was motioning in the background.
He was having fun.
There was a proverbial weapon in his mouth. So during that, we are almost certainly going to rant about how nothing makes sense and everything sucks.
More
but
like-
also maybe it doesn't quite
It doesn't
suck as much
suck,
as.
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And Kirk's gonna rant about that.
So we'll talk about it some more
Yeah.
in that. It's probably 2 weeks
Anyway,
away.
let's
something
talk
like
about
that.
tie-ins.
So, tie-ins. What's
to-
the worst to best? And surprisingly, Judah actually agrees with me on the worst one, which I was not expecting at all. In any way. I thought I was just being picky and dumb and
Okay.
me, but no.
So I'm a lot nicer about this than you. So All-Star Squadron.
Sucks. It's the worst thing in the world.
So here and in Infinity Inc. I think they're tied.
I didn't think Infinity was as bad as I thought
So
originally.
here's what's up. Why it doesn't work for me is not the same reason it doesn't work for Kirk. I don't think, or maybe it is.
Maybe a little bit of crossover. But
I love some of the characters included in there, and I've read great stories with them both before Crisis and well after Crisis, right? But it just feels like a love letter written to someone that's dead. That's what reading All-Star Squadron feels like. Like, it feels like you're writing a somber piece to express something that's been gone for a while. And whatever All-Star Squadron had died a while ago, and we've been keeping it on until Crisis, and the tie-ins in Crisis are a result.
what's the storyline of it? Okay, there's a big group of people that team up, which happens a lot. There's way too there's too many team ups in the DC universe.
On Earth 2, there's a big group of people that team up.
Yeah, so that is kind of important.
Yeah.
On Earth 2, there's a big group of people that team up, All-Star Squadron.
Yes.
I could absolutely
They're
say
like
that there are
the
some good characters in there.
They're like the JSA minus all of the other JSA characters that make the JSA iconic.
Yeah. So it's a bunch of no names I don't know about at all. And I get some history.
First of all, I want to say Amazing Man is great. And he's in the background of a lot of All-Star Squadron. And I want to shout him out because I like him.
I couldn't even make a comment on it because I was mostly literally in a raging ball of fire as I was reading these because I hated them so much. And they just wouldn't end. Like, of the entire crossover and all the tie-ins, I think All-Star had the most issues that were tie-ins.
7 or 8 issues.
Yeah. It's a sixth of this storyline.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for how bad it is. For whatever reasons it may be, which apparently reasons differ, it's bad. How can that be such a gigantic part of this event?
Anyway, so Kirk wants a All-Star Squadron reboot in 2025. He's
If
boycotted.
I would be okay with that and only if
Yeah.
you first have a couple of series, even if they're limited, 12 issues, whatever.
6 issues.
Maybe not that little, but more limited.
8 inches.
Of explaining kind of these characters and their backgrounds and giving us some time with them to get used to them. Because that was a big problem for me going into this, is I don't know anything about these characters. I could not possibly give any inklings as to these characters.
You really
Jade
like
was one of them, right?
Jade, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was a freaking curveball
She
when
has,
the parents was
Alan Scott.
Alan Scott, which I do love Alan Scott. But
You like the gay Green Lantern.
okay,
That's
and
just good. It's good.
he's awesome.
I
He's
like-
awesome.
I like Jon
he was
Stewart.
one of the
He's
most
the best.
redeemable qualities of that. The McNider, that was one of them too.
Dr. Midnight?
Yeah.
I love Dr.
Yeah.
Midnight.
I loved some of there were bits and pieces in here that were interesting. And if you could do those as more standalone type things rather than being part of this amalgam where you
Yeah.
get 20 seconds with everybody in it.
Also,
Then
I
that
want
would
to
be
point
good.
out that Jade has sex with at least 3 people in this book or in the tie-ins. I had a little counter on
This was the 80s, y'all.
on my laptop. I had a little counter. I was like,
You had a counter?
this is surprising.
What's it with you and lists?
Oh, I checked them twice. Call me Santa Claus. Yeah, I was surprised. I guess free the nipple. I guess I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah,
I don't know what movement.
Free love was like 20 years before.
Yeah,
It's like
Roy Thomas
this is old news.
Roy Thomas was still stuck on free love. I'm gonna be honest. And Alan Scott's daughter, she's freely loving, I guess.
So, but that was a curveball. It was good, but it didn't help me enjoy her character any more. Alan Scott, great, but her character, it was just kind of like that was passive to her.
Yeah.
Where it was much more active on Green Lantern's side. And it's just like, And again, it's being a big team up. I don't know any of the characters in it. I'm just reading through and people are talking to each other. And it's like as if I was trying to intently focus and bring something out of a conversation to go home with. If I walk into a room of random people from Berlin who are all just talking, maybe some of it's in English, and maybe I can theoretically understand some of the words and maybe some of the context because of just like sitting in the room for a while, maybe picking up some context and, maybe I hear a couple of things that are interesting, like, again, the Green Lantern, Alan Scott stuff. I hear some of that stuff going on in the room, and I'm like, that's a little interesting. But otherwise, it's just a blob of random people talking, half in a language I don't understand, and even in the language I do understand, it's like I don't have any of the context.
It's all written in English,
and I'm supposed to. Yeah, it is. But still, the point is there. I'm supposed to be able to pull story from this and pull how this somehow ties into the event. Which, by the way, it doesn't. None of it, for the most part. I shouldn't say none then, but the majority of it, 95% of this doesn't actually tie into the event, except that this happens to be what the people are doing before the last 2 pages of the book, where one of them gets kidnapped by Harbinger. Which is made worse by the fact that all that Harbinger kidnapping and plucking people all over the world stuff also didn't matter to Crisis. So none of this mattered. I don't know if you can tell, but I hate it.
Anyway,
I hate it.
What's next? The individual random ones, like Vigilante, all that nonsense. They're like the next level.
Peak Batman.
Yeah, but we're not at the top yet. I honestly think
I wanted to counteract
Superman
my
ones are
ranting.
even better. So Green Lantern is in the middle. I'd say there's not much
there
to
were some
say about
interesting
it.
things.
I like John
it
Stewart
ends
in there.
after Crisis ends.
It does, and also I love Guy Gardner kind of being an antagonist.
It was
really fun.
I didn't understand any of this stuff about like how he relinquished his ring and now they won't give it back to him, but then they give it back to him, but he's not. They granted him a seat on the council, but they didn't grant him the rank of master. All that stuff. Okay, I don't understand.
All that stuff that made you want to keep reading Green Lantern after Crisis, the thing you've been complaining about the entire time, when you're never going to read Green Lantern ever. So why are you picking at the worst part of DC continuity? When you don't care about it and you're not going to read it.
I don't even like the Absolute Universe Green Lantern. So
I think it's better than...
No, it's because it's trying to follow 6 characters, which is one of my problems with Crisis.
It's better.
Thank you, Gabe.
It's better than main universe Green Lantern.
Well,
that's not
that is the lowest bar
you
could possibly have.
I'm pretty sure Marvel does better than main universe Green Lantern. Like that's how low of a bar.
Yeah.
Main universe Green Lantern is that Marvel.
Okay. There's a lot of slander. Jeremy Adams, we appreciate you. We thank you for making.
In terms of individual,
no. Jeremy Adams, personal shout out. # Jeremy Adams on this video. At him on Instagram when we post this.
I will not.
I will. Green Lantern 600 came out, and I love that in the first page, Hal Jordan just disappears, and you don't explain why. I really I'm so happy. I read that and I went, what? This is the greatest thing I've ever picked. This is the best Green Lantern comic. This has to be.
Okay.
So, shout out to you, Jeremy Adams.
Okay, wait, hold on. The only thing that could make that better is if immediately after that was a full page spread.
Yeah.
Okay, the next page, you flip it over, it's another full page double spread of just somebody punching Guy in the face as hard as they can.
No, that's not what's next, but that's in the book. That's the greatest book of all time. Yeah.
I just want to point out that what made this issue the best Green Lantern issue for Judah is the fact that Green Lantern
isn't in it.
Yes. Well, actually, Hal Jordan isn't in it. John Stewart's in it. Kyle Rayner's in it. But Peak. Kilowog's in it.
We have to move on from Green Lantern at some point.
Just He's wiped off the face of the earth. That's what makes it good.
The only thing that could make it better.
Fewer Green Lantern.
The only other thing that could make it better for Judah is if he never shows up again.
Yeah, if he doesn't show up again, Jeremy Adams, I will give you $1 million.
If he never shows up again,
I will pay
and
for
you
that
retroactively go back and just like erase him from every comic that he's ever been in, retroactively, and then force everybody to have that in their app.
Yeah.
Also confiscate all of the physical issues and just like pencil over and just scratch
off
them out.
all 5 Green Lantern fans that exist.
I actually don't think he's a bad character. I don't understand, but okay.
I hate Green Lantern religiously, and I love all of you Jeff Johns fans. So I'm not talking about you, but I know that you identify yourself as Green Lantern fan sometimes. You're not. You're a Jeff Johns fan. Kyle Rayner's great. Guy Gardner's great. Jon Stewart's great. You could tell thousands of better stories with all 3 of those. Kilowog, the alien Kilowog, has more character.
I would actually be
has more character than Hal Jordan. He is a piece of bread that deserves to disappear. So anyway, the Green Lantern tie-ins were in the middle, and we enjoyed them. So talking about Superman before we talk about Batman, the Superman tie-ins are great. We got Superboy Prime Origins and all that fun stuff. So lots of peek in there. Lastly, Batman, which Kirk's excited for.
I'm excited to talk about it. I thought it was a good story. Genuinely, I thought it was fun.
You like Vampire Sugar Mommy Batman villain?
Real.
I like the conflict.
So you like Vampire Sugar Mommy Batman villain?
Sure, yeah. I mean, why not? I like
She's
the conflict.
great.
I like this one was the first one where we really got to sit with the destruction of Crisis and how the only solution to this is a reset at the end. So, upping the stakes and starting to fulfill the promise of
Isn't it wonderful
Crisis.
that Batman gets reset after Crisis? Because it was an option for him not to, given that there were people that weren't. So I want you to take
that is
all
good.
the good things.
That is good. Anyway, it didn't actually have much to do with Crisis.
Except for the fact that Crisis was happening.
Yes. And it is important that Crisis actually established the stakes that the universes are ending. The worlds are ending. It is real. Like we say, oh, natural disaster. We see it here now. And properly. And we get to sit with it and all that. That is very important. It didn't necessarily need to be here. And then because the rest of it kind of wasn't part of Crisis, there could have been a way where they had that in the main Crisis or in some of the other things. If you did the sitting with it thing in All-Star and you had less of the everybody in a room shouting of All-Star, that could have made All-Star better, and then you wouldn't need to have this as part of the event. And it could just be a good standalone story to kind of start to wrap up or even fully wrap up. I don't know. Batman.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
Batman
enjoyed it.
fully
It was
wrapped
one of the few things that I was going through this and I didn't see that there were 6 issues of it, and immediately after reading the first one, being like, if I have to actually sit through and read the rest of these, I will throw this iPad through the wall. Okay. Which was all.
Can I read that slightly for you?
Sure.
So there's only one element of Batman that's technically speaking not reset. Jason Todd is Robin post-Crisis. So we because of the Titans effect and the fact that Nightwing still exists. Jason Todd, he's not the first Robin. We wait a lot of years to explore Dick Grayson in the post-Crisis universe as Robin, which is fair. But all of our best Jason Todd Robin stories come from post-Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he is Robin. So that's a fun fact. So Titans kind of screws with Batman a little bit, but not a lot, because they end up killing him like 3 years later. So fun fact, spoiler of an event we're definitely going to cover, because fun fact, the Joker. Don't worry,
I'll forget it by then.
The Joker has political immunity because he's the ambassador to Iran.
I've heard of this.
That's how he gets away with killing Robin.
We have to stop talking about other things while we're trying to talk about this in under an hour, which we are rapidly
Fuck
approaching.
Green Lantern, specifically Hal Jordan. All the other ones are pretty good.
Speaking of, go watch our video titled exactly that.
Want to do that with him.
What? That's a good point, actually. Gabe, that is a great point.
A rare Gabe W.
That's what I'm here for.
A rare Gabe W right there. I actually don't want that to happen. I want him to stay gone.
Just say disappeared.
Just like To Catch a Predator. We can do To Catch a Predator with him. He literally almost.
wait,
Here's
hold
why
on.
he's so terrible. He hits on minors. He. No, not like me. He's white bread when it comes
Like
to
you.
being a character.
You're
He
white
has
and
no
bread, like
character whatsoever at all. He hits on minors. He commits mass genocide
Like
without
you.
a second thought. What? He's not a good character. He has a lot of will. What does that mean? He does stuff. That's just excusing the fact that he has no character.
That's fair. Okay.
So sorry that I'm getting mad about Hal Jordan. Like that's the second time.
I was gonna say something. I don't remember what it was.
All right, well that's.
I'm
fair.
gonna be editing this, and I'm like, shoot.
You could edit it in. Also,
what I
I
wanted to
want
say.
you to just throw a bunch of images of like when Hal. Look up Hal Jordan's worst beatings.
I
in
remember.
comics,
I
and
remember.
Just throw them up on screen while
This
I
is
while
what
I'm
this is what I
ranting.
want. Okay, so you know how Sinestro was sent to
Oh, no.
the antimatter universe. This was part of that tie-in, by the way.
Yes.
So okay, he's sent to the antimatter universe. All that, whatever. Do a version of that where you said that he's just disappeared. He disappeared to the antimatter universe, and he's being endlessly tortured in the worst possible ways
I would
while
love
he's
that.
over there. And we don't have like a full issue dedicated to it or a full storyline dedicated to it or like how we get him out of this type thing. It's just for every single issue of Green Lantern going forward. It's like it's the cameos from Stan Lee in the Marvel movies. It's just like we get a single panel randomly in there that just cuts to him getting brutally tortured in the antimatter universe, and then it cuts back to whatever the rest of the story is, and it never ties in, and there's never any reason for it. Like it's just
for me.
from now on until the end of time or when they reset, which they never ever will,
They will.
the Green Lantern story universe,
if
whatever
they
it is.
reset the DC universe again and they don't reset Green Lantern, I am driving
We are
to
burning down DC HQ.
We're not. We're gonna drive to the DC offices and we're gonna flip some tables. Is what we're gonna do. We're gonna
Jesus
be like
style.
Jesus style.
This is a place of drawing of writing actually good storylines.
You guys have done it 100 times. Write a good damn Green Lantern story. And no, Geoff Johns' Green Lantern doesn't count. Just because you had a good idea that has nothing to do with Hal Jordan doesn't mean that Hal Jordan is a good character or Green Lantern is good.
The fact that this crisis has just created so much rage in us should probably tell you guys something about it.
It's just Hal Jordan.
I mean,
purely, we read anything with Hal Jordan in it, I'm gonna rant.
oh my gosh. Okay. So, just quickly, we're going to get this under the 60-minute mark.
Yeah,
okay?
we are.
Really quickly, your tie-ins rating and then the overall rating.
3.25, so overall rating would be 3.5.
2.5 overall rating is going to be...
3.
That'd be... Well,
you gave
yeah,
it
because
3.5.
if it's a weighted average,
Yeah. It's gonna be 3.
somewhere around 3.25, something like that.
Yeah.
Purely just averaging, if divide by 2, that would be somewhere in 4. I'm not actually gonna do the math. That's a little high, so take that as you will. Those are our ratings. Gabe, give us a rating, even though you've read none of this, but purely based on what
we've
been
said.
hearing.
Yeah. How good or bad do you think it is?
I would give it 4.
He likes Hal Jordan. He does want to fuck Hal
He
Jordan.
did not say 4 stars. It could be 4 anything. 4 bananas. Out of how many bananas? Who knows? And we will never tell you.
Infinite bananas on infinite earths. He gives him 4 out of infinite bananas.
Gabe, drink shout out.
Drink shout out. Get up here for the drink shout out.
Okay.
Stop doing it from the background. We actually care what you think for once.
Sometimes.
How about horchata? That's amazing.
Say that again and louder.
Horchata?
Into the microphone.
What is that? It can hear. What is that?
It's okay, so you can get it at Mexican restaurants, and it's how do you describe it?
Horchata.
I'm
It's
cutting you
a
off at 59.
Cinnamon drink.
It's
sounds-
a cinnamon
it's
cinnamon
really,
drink.
really good.
All
Actually.
right.
Okay.
It's
Well,
nice.
you are cut off from talking. So.
Yeah, with that being said, good morning.
Good evening.
And good night.
God bless and fuck Hal Jordan.
Bye.
No, don't. He doesn't like that.
Whoa. Okay.